Hi, everybody. It's Liz Larson with Transform One Idea, back again with author, speaker, coach, access consciousness facilitator, mom, and former Jewish princess, Barbra Gilman. I had to ask her to come back because we have so many more things to talk about. Hi, Barbra.
Hi. Thank you for having me back.
Thank you for being willing because, you know, not just me, but our audience has so many questions. And I know that so many of the people that are watching today are practitioners of some kind, therapists, coaches, life coaches, Reiki people, mediums that are out there building practices and drawing in clients and money, and they're living in their vitality, not to mention their consciousness. But these are conscious, heart-centered businesses. So if you would, I'd like to start there. And if you're just catching up with us, I want to say that we are talking about Barbra and her book, Whatever the Fuck It Takes. And all of those answers are in this book. It's really awesome. And Barbra uses these small statements that come from Access that really are a little mind-bending when you first think about them. They're not exactly what you think would be the answer, but man, do they work great, Barbra. I mean, they're so good. We're all enjoying this so much. So would you talk to us about the limitations? That's something I saw in here that I really was curious about from you, about the limitations that we're putting on ourselves, and talk to the practitioners out there about that.
Okay, so will you read the 3 little lines underneath the title?
Never give in, never give up, and never quit.
Okay, and that's what it's about. You know, we've all come through as what I call the lie of reality, where we bought the wrongness of us rather than the greatness of us. So it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are, what kind of business you have, you could be at the top of your game, but there's still a place within us that we haven't reached yet, which is really about the fullness of the possibility of who we are. And so it doesn't matter if we're talking about business or parenting or relationship, it's all the same. And so when we come to the business world, to me, that's one of the really important things to look at. And how do you show up in business? I mean, what is business? What's the difference between business and your life? Is there a difference? And the answer is no. It's you, whether you're a coach, whether you're a CEO, whether you're an MD, it doesn't matter. Where are you not showing up with all of you? And where have you not even found out what all of you could look like and could function as? And so basically that's what I offer people, is to take that next dive to really get rid of all the lies, all the limitations, the judgments, the conclusions of who you are, who you're not, and what business is, and how you relate to your business. So that's, really the first part to look at. And, when most people think of business, the first thing that comes up is money. And that changes your possibility of creating. Because what if business isn't about money? What if money is just something that happens along the way? And one of the things that actually creates more money is being the energy of joy and play, because it's the same energy as money. So if you take the joy and the play and now you put it into the business, which for some people they would go, I don't want my people coming in and playing and, being whatever. And that's actually what you want. Okay. So go ahead. You have a question.
I just wondered if you would, because you're so amazing at these tools that you have in this book, if you would talk to us about, I know off camera, we were talking about a story that you had to share about a practitioner who used a tool. And we were talking about, this idea, like you said, the lie of business, the idea that because there's a standard in our industry of what most people see as possible, that's not really true. So I was wondering if you would share first that story and then the tool. Where do we start? I really get it that your book shares about how to be the fullness of yourself, how to really become you. And, we all need a little place to start, like the nugget for how to begin there. So would you share those with us?
Yes, I have many, but let me see which one I'm going to use. Okay, I got it. So I had a client, and she was brought up in a family with a lot of MDs, a lot of doctors. So from the beginning, she was going into the fashion world. And so she felt a less than and a wrongness because clearly the father and the grandfather wanted her to be a doctor. And so one of the first things when we were talking about, and she came to me and it was about the business and that. So the first thing we did is take away the wrongness. And when you look at that, it's like, so again, one of the things could be what's right about this. So what's right about you not wanting to be the doctor and wanting to go into the world, of fashion and art and all of that. And as soon as we got rid of that piece, she was a different person. And she would even talk about how now when she went into work, she would walk differently, she dressed differently, she felt different about herself. And the beauty with this work is that the energy, once you take off that little bit of energy of what's wrong about me, because I'm not being a doctor, well, then I'm not as good. When you take that away, all of a sudden the person expands the possibility of who they are. And that's why she was able to go into work and everyone noticed, including her boss, something had changed. So from there, she started again working with the tools, and she learned that every time something would occur that she would feel less than or wrong in the business place, she would have her tools. She would have them written down on a little pad, and then she would start using them. So one of the other tools is interesting point of view. So someone would look at her or say something, and she would go into the wrongness of her, thinking she didn't know enough. But then she went into, okay, interesting point of view. In other words, interesting point of view, I have the point of view that these people are judging me and making me wrong. Is that real? Probably not. But as soon as she said it, okay, the energy dissipated. And now she was like more of her, and she could communicate in a way that they got her power and potency. And so quickly, okay, working there for her became a pleasure, and she was almost afraid to go into work because she felt so less than. And as it turned out, it wasn't even hers. And so much of our stuff is not ours. Okay, so it's the who does this belong to? And it's the interesting point of view. I have this point of view that it's even mine. And so that started to shift everything for her. And it is that simple.
So, I mean, there's so many nuggets in the story that you just told. And speaking of business and industry, I mean, having Barbra come in and speak to your organization, your business, your industry, she's such an amazing storyteller, as you just heard, but full of useful tools. And so two of them that I just caught, and there were so many more, are interesting point of view and, what's the wrongness in this? Oh, there's the third one is, whose is this? Oh my gosh, whose idea is this? These are classic access tools and tools that Barbra teaches so beautifully. The other thing I caught from what you just said is this person in this story didn't just go into one meditation after one coaching session and change her life. She used tools throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the month, all day long, all the time. Whose point of view is it? If I feel bad about myself, is it mine? Is it my family's? They're talking about me. Oh, that's an interesting point of view. What else is possible? So that's an amazing thing about this book and about the way you teach and Access teaches is it's constantly addressing and challenging. Right?
Yes. And when we say, the who does this belong to, I don't know I'm sure there's, many of your listeners know already, but what that we're really talking about is whose energy have you taken on? Because everything is energy. It's, think of it just floating around and you're just going like this. Okay, you don't know that you're going like this. And so I like to be a little funny. And so I have a very old story, and the story is, would you go into your next door neighbor's house, make your way into the bathroom, into the hamper, and take out their dirty underwear and wear it? And then everyone goes, ooh, okay, right. Well, then what I say is, guess what? You're doing worse than that, okay? Because you're taking other people's points of view and you're taking it on, okay, the energy you're taking on, and at that moment you don't even know you're taking it on, and now you're stuck with a limitation. Because let's face it, most people on the planet live in limitation. They're not living in an expansive, amazing, magical universe. So, that's something to really, just receive and think about. Do you want to wear someone's dirty underwear? Do you want to take their points of view, take them on as yours, and then create your life from it? It wouldn't work. You'll never be the greatness, and you'll never be the joy and the fun that's possible for you, because there's only one of you, and you are amazing.
So first of all, that's a horrifying image. And second of all, it really is so accurate, and especially in business. Let me bring it right back into the business world. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an attitude. And even if you set energy aside, they're more than likely to give you their opinion or their attitude. And then you add on whatever energy they're bringing with them. And I know in the book you talk about humanoids. So those of us who are creative and empathic and sensitive, we in business take those on in a massive way. And then if what you're saying is what I'm hearing, that we are actually then building ourselves on that, building our lives on that, building our opinions and building our businesses on someone else's energetic imprint.
Yes, and let me put in something else here, which you brought up. Thank you. Again, if we're not talking about conscious people, you're talking about people who live in fear. So think of what a business is. It's a group of people who come together, and basically in this world, most people aren't doing their jobs because they absolutely love them and it's like going to the playground. Most people are going to do a job because they're receiving money, and they want to receive more money, and that's a whole nother story of the why we're not getting what we really could be getting, so we could not be crawling on all fours, but that's another topic. But the point is, and so if you're not talking about someone who is really conscious and a little bit in fear, you have people in your office who can get how amazing and wonderful and creative you are, and they don't want that. And a lot of people will do whatever they can. They'll manipulate, they'll create whatever it is to like poke you. Now you're talking about some new or young person. They come into an office and it's almost like sending the cub into the lion's den or the mouse into the lion's den. Okay. You want to really have that interesting point of view. I have this point of view, and be ready, because who's coming at you? And I hate to say this, but so many people that I work with, it's like there's one person in the office that doesn't want them to be as powerful and potent because they might be getting the next job, increase or whatever. So it's like they'll go out of their way to manipulate enough fear or enough wrongness about that person, or just even a tiny bit so they have to question themselves. And that literally is like taking a pillow and like ripping it, and all of a sudden everything is starting to come out. You don't want to be that person. You want to hold on to your power and your potency, and you don't have to get into anger or anything about them. You don't want to go there. It's just interesting point of view that they have, the interesting point of view that they're, I don't want to use the word from my book, but
I mean, it's out there. So
okay, fucking with me to try to get me kind of out of the way so they can step in, or just trying to make me a little bit more in fear or in, problem state. So they could just like sort of run over me. And I've heard this so often. So interesting point of view. I have this point of view will allow that energy to just wash off you, where you could stay in your power, your potency, and your amazing whatever, sweetness, goodness. You don't have to go there. You don't have to play that game with anyone. All you have to do is be you, and you will receive whatever you're willing to receive. Forget about them. Don't get into it. It's like 5-year-olds.
So really, I mean, at the core of everything that you're saying is so spot on and so true, not only about business, but in groups. If you're in a club, if you're in a church, if any organization, you're going to experience these things, especially if you're a humanoid, like you say in the book. But the most important thing, it sounds like to me, is the consciousness being, if you have just the tiniest awareness of, is this mine? Whose energy is this? Whose point of view is this? And that there's the possibility that that energy of another person could be affecting you. That's your starting place.
Yes, and let me...
Oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Because I love being interviewed for you, because you always bring up the things that, oh, okay, and this and this. So one of the other things, as you know, is asking questions, because that's going to change everything. So what's right about this I'm not getting? Then you'll go, oh, okay, I see what she's trying to do. And interesting point of view, that she has that point of view, and now that's gone. So you really want to ask questions. And then remember, a business is nothing more than molecules, just like we are. And so you want to communicate with your business, okay? And you ask the business questions. Business, what can I be and do different that would create whatever it is that you're looking to create, whatever's going on that you want to change? And you just keep asking, because again, now for some people that might seem strange. What do you mean you're going to talk to your business, or you're going to talk to your car, or whatever? Everything is molecules. We can commune with molecules because that's all that we are. And then you simply get the awareness. And the awareness could come when you're, driving in your car, when you're reading a book, when you're in the gym. It just comes and, I got it. Okay. And this is how I'm going to change this. So that is another wonderful tool.
Okay, now everyone out there, you only do these tools, only do them if you want to become a conscious entrepreneur. Otherwise, just stay in your lane. But these are the things that Barbara is talking about that create real and true change and create a consciousness in business that just doesn't exist all the time. So, I mean, to me, that's fabulous. So only try this out if you're really ready for things to change and to become conscious. Now, I have to say, Barbara, I mean, so many of the things that you were talking about, they feel so real, especially in business. Because in business, we're talking about our livelihoods. We're talking about money. We're talking about success. We're talking about growth. And to have the ability, like you're saying, to stop and ask these questions, almost challenge the limitations that unconscious business puts on us.
Yes.
Then we create something that's absolutely new. So like you're saying, talking to your business, who thinks of that?
Exactly. And not only, yes, and not only that, but you, as you said, people are thinking about why do people go to work? Would they be going to work if they had all the money in the world? Okay. And that brings me to the place of how we have been looking at business as business equals money. That's a lie. Okay. That's an old paradigm. What if business was about creation? Creating? And what if you went through the door of your business, whether you're the CEO or you're the janitor, it doesn't make a difference. What if you came into work with the question of, what can I create today? Or what can I create here today that would, and then after would is whatever you've been trying to create. Or what can I create that I haven't even acknowledged, that I haven't even been thinking of, that's greater than anything I can imagine? Just think of everything as magic. Magic is real and it will occur.
So what happens next when somebody asks that question, and I love it so much? What else is possible that I haven't even acknowledged? What does that question then create? What happens next?
Well, it's just like saying, you know, as I say, I'm a Jewish mother, right? Okay. So um, as a Jewish mother, what does that really mean? If someone doesn't know what it is and they ask me, I say, well, basically, your Jewish mother would go through hell and high water to give you whatever it is you want. Okay. There are not so great parts of it, but that's another story. But that's how the universe is. And I've said it for years and years. Can the universe be less than a Jewish mother? It's impossible. So what you're asking for in your ask, okay, which is energy, you hold the energy. Don't think about, you know, the Mercedes or the big house that's yellow here and green here. No, only energy. You hold the energy of what you are asking for. And for me, you know what? That's happiness. If I could wake up and know that my life is just totally happy and I'm being a contribution to consciousness on the planet, that's it. I don't need any pictures because I don't know what it could look like. So this is what I'm sharing with you because I do this all the time. Just hold and be the energy of what the most wonderful business, job, whatever you want to call it, would be. If you were there and you were coming home, how would you be feeling? Okay. What would your body be feeling? Okay. What would you be thinking about? Okay. And then that energy is what you just be. Then you ask the universe, what would it take for me to be this, to live with this energy? And that's the magic, because the universe is your Jewish mother. It wants to give you everything that you desire, and it will. But if you tell it that you want a specific thing, it's not going to work the same way because it's not energy. We're talking a different language. You could say a word that represents a different energy to someone else, including the universe.
And I think that's a really good point, that we are speaking a different language here. Barbara, I mean, you're like a force of nature here in this. And I so appreciate this thread of this conversation. So let me back up to something that you said before and bring it forward. You were talking about approaching business as creativity, creating. And think about the businesses, you guys, everybody out there, think about the businesses that have created something that literally changed the planet. And if we approach any of our businesses, whether we're a sole proprietor, a practitioner, or an entrepreneur of a massive startup that will change the world, you have that ability if you approach it that way. And I think that's such a beauty of how you teach, that if a person wanted to instantly change what they're doing, a conversation with Barbara would do that, to change you from going to work and slugging along and taking on everybody's energy to really thinking about what you can create in your life, for your family, for your community, and then, like you so eloquently say, for the planet. You know?
Absolutely. And that would change everything for everyone.
Yeah, to me, it's like being a drop of water that turns into a hurricane. You know, that's what we can be if we have these tools.
And Liz, this is, you see, this is what this time on the planet is about. You know, we had an interview about chaos, but this is what we're talking about. We are in a place now, it's like when you have a child, you have them at a time in their life where this is what's going to create who they are then. This is the moment. And this is the moment we have on the planet now, where if we start going out of the past, which is like we're all riding ox carts to go to the next town, and we realize, no, okay, we are in 2000 and whatever, okay? And we need change here. We need to be able to assist our planet in surviving. And how can we be that energy? Forget about the money. The money will follow. That's just how it works. But if we focus on the money, the planet is just not going to make it. I mean, even in the science world right now, they know, and they have told us how far how long the Earth has in this moment. I don't have to go into it. I won't be the person to tell you. But my point is, what would it take for all of us to choose consciousness, or at least enough of us to make a change in the world? And business is a great place because that's what runs. Okay, that's what runs everything in a way, And so what if business now looks at it as, instead of the numbers on a page, what if it looks like, wow, what can we be and do different today that would change our planet, that would allow it to actually survive, because we're not coming from fear, but we're coming from possibility. We're coming from, everything that would sustain it.
I mean, that changes everything. Just the shift in perspective on how what you're doing can actually influence the planet and influence the people around you and influence the universe. It's a huge perspective.
Absolutely.
We only have a couple minutes left, but I wanted to have you share something with the group that I know you're really passionate about. And this is for entrepreneurs, business people who have employees. So I know that you shared with me that having a conscious employer can shift everything for the business and how they address the needs of their employees. So would you quickly tell us about that?
Well, it's just someone who's not looking at the old bottom line of money. It's like, what can I, as this person, okay, running this business, what can I be and do different that totally supports, okay, my people? And, and that could be so many ways. I mean, for me, the first thing that I say in my platform for business, is you can't expect your people to come through the door with the issues of their life, okay, which is this, that your child has cancer, you're getting divorced or whatever, and expect them to leave that outside the door. It's ridiculous. And that's why it doesn't work. But what if you, as that CEO or that principal, stockholder or whatever, what if you were there as a Jewish mother? What if you were there to support your people and give them gifts and tools that they will now know how to manage their life? Not only manage, but to have their life become this amazing adventure. Now your people are coming in and they want to be creative. They want to be there. Okay, how different would that be? So, even 30 years ago, before I had access, I mean, I used to tell the businesses I work for, take yourself out of the top position, put yourself at the bottom, and now function, okay? It changes everything. So this is that whole model switch that we need for the whole planet now. And I guarantee you, everything will change in a nanosecond. But you have to have someone at the top who is conscious enough and willing to create change. It's just that simple.
I mean, you're absolutely right. For me, leadership is a supporting role. And the more leaders understand that leadership is a supporting role, and I love how you say it, as a leader, you can be the Jewish mother. And, I think we don't want to tell entrepreneurs that you change all this and don't worry about the money. I think what we're saying is that as you're more conscious, as a leader and as a boss, and you play that supporting role, that so much more of everything is then created, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, everybody that I have worked with, I mean, it just occurs. It's just because it's like 1 and 1 equals 2. Have your people being joyful and playful, and your business will just blossom. Okay, you'll have more money flowing in. They'll have more money flowing in. Everyone will be happy, okay? And that's real, because that's the way that we need to live. That's the way that we need to be treated. That's the way that the earth will get the possibility of actually surviving.
So that is so beautiful. Let's close there. I mean, I could talk to you all day, Barbara, and I'm sure that our audience would love that. But with time constraints, I just want to share with you how you can contact Barbara. And if you are interested in becoming a conscious entrepreneur, I highly suggest that you reach out to Barbara and have at least one coaching session. It will change everything for you. So Barbara@barbragilman.com is the email where you can reach out to her. You can look on her website at barbragilman.com, and I'll share at the bottom here exactly how that's spelled. Barbara is a facilitator for Access Consciousness. If you are involved in the Access Consciousness world or would like to join in that, you can find her at accessconsciousness.com. Barbara coaches in a different way. She records all of her sessions, and then you receive that recording and you listen to that multiple times a day. So it's like having 3 coaching sessions a day. Add that up to a week, a month, a year, and you can't even imagine the change that is possible for you. So Barbara, did I leave anything out?
No, you were wonderful as always.
and if you want to start right now, Amazon.com or Barbara's website, buy the book. It's a place where
Amazon is better and easier.
Amazon, okay. Buy the book.
Or Access Consciousness.
It is packed with all of these tools, all of them. And you can start them today and then give Barbara a call and actually have her support you even further in taking these tools to the next level, becoming a conscious entrepreneur and changing the planet. I love that about you, Barbara. It all comes down to changing the planet.
Yes, well, where will we go if we don't have this planet? You know, we're here already. Why not stay, right?
Of course, you're right about that. All right, everybody, it's Liz Larson with Transform One Idea, where we're always exploring that the smallest shift creates the biggest change. And man, this guest today helps us create big change. So we'll all talk soon. Please come back again, Barbara, if you will. We have so many more questions.
Absolutely. Love it.
Thanks. Ciao, everyone. Bye.